Hey everybody, Bearded Rogue here, and today I want to talk about something that's a little bit unusual for me. I haven't done a lot of role-playing in a long time. I used to be pretty heavily into it back when I was in the Army and shortly thereafter, but it's kind of tapered off as, job requirements have gotten to be more and parental requirements have gotten to be more. So it's not something I get to do very often at this point. But I wanted to bring up a role-playing game that caught my attention recently, and that is Worldwide Wrestling, the role-playing game. I picked this up at Origins, and did so at the recommendation of several other designer-type folks who knew that I was interested in wrestling, who knew that I was interested in role-playing games, even if I hadn't played any for a long time. And I just happened to be walking by the Indie Press Revolution booth, and the designer and author was sitting at the table. And there was a big stack of these, and I couldn't pass them up, because several people had recommended it to me, and I'd gone online looking for information, and there was a full playthrough of an entire season of wrestling. And it's just like what it sounds like. All of the players, one player is creative, who is kind of like the games master in a traditional role-playing game, or like the booker in an actual wrestling federation. So they're the person who makes all the matches, decides who wins and who doesn't, figures out what other kinds of segments are going to show up to try to make things interesting for the fictional viewing audience. And then all the other players are wrestlers. And they are wrestlers on both sides of the camera. The backstage real person who's playing the character that is the wrestler. So you're playing the role of a person who's also playing a role, which is just mind-blowingly awesome when it comes to what a wrestling game needs to be about. The matches are semi-cooperative, in that you are working together to tell a good story, which makes for a very good storytelling game. Wrestling matches are that in real life. They're storytelling, and both of the people in the ring are working together to tell that story and to convey that story to the audience, and this game is that. Like, it is exactly that. The players, or the creative, they're non-player wrestlers, and the characters are all working together to create an amazing story. It's modern day myth and legend. The characters are larger than life, interacting, whether it's, comic book style, or, going back to olden style Greek times. Like, it's a story of good triumphing over evil, of setbacks and hardships, of overcoming the odds, all the things that people love about the storytelling in wrestling, except you get to do it with characters of your creation and your friends. It's designed on the Apocalypse World system. It's powered by the Apocalypse, so it's a variant of that. It's by NDP Design, the author Nathan D. Paletta there, if you can see the name, and the little logo here, NDP Design. He's done several other things, all of which sound really interesting, but this is the first one that I really know him from. I kind of, because of the subject matter, had to jump in. As everybody who knows me knows that I love wrestling and games. This is something that combines both of them into a really awesome whole. So I finished reading the book on my business trip. It was very, very good reading on the plane. It's, like most Apocalypse World type stuff, not extremely rules dense, which is great. It's much more focused on how do you guys interact to tell a story. There are some amazing essays in here for people who either aren't familiar with wrestling, or people who aren't familiar with role-playing games and why either one matters. My favorite one is this essay by Aubrey Sitterson called "Professional Wrestling Burlesque for Boys." It's one of the most amazing essays about wrestling I have ever read. It really, to me, captures what wrestling is: a celebration of masculinity, the same way that burlesque is a celebration of femininity. It's a phenomenal read. I'm not gonna like try to go into it or to dissect it, but an amazing book, and really not very thick as far as role-playing systems go. Most of the stuff in here is ideas that you can then riff off of. If you're familiar with wrestling at all, then a lot of the stuff in here will be like second nature to you. You'll just get it. If you're familiar with role-playing games, then other than the wrestling terminology, you're just going to get it. Like, it'll just click for you. It's extremely well done, an excellent product that really does a good service to both wrestling and role-playing, and I cannot wait to get some games of this started. I don't know whether that's going to be online or in person or both, or exactly how it's going to end up working, but I'm super excited about this because it's just I just can't say enough about it at this point. Because the author was sitting right there, mine is autographed. I'm so excited that I got it handed to me by him, because it gave me an opportunity to really kind of fanboy gush about how this is something that I've kind of always wanted. I've never been in the physical shape to be a wrestler. It's not anything I've ever pursued, but I love the psychology of it. I love the storytelling of it. I just love wrestling. And anything that lets me get into wrestling even a little bit for a little bit of time is going to be something that I fall in love with, and this right here to me allows me to live the dream and, you know, create my own undead ninja assassin in a Lucha Underground type federation, or, you know, bring my own super technical expert into something like the Cruiserweight Classic that I talked about earlier this week, or you know, any of a million different things that could happen. Even, you know, wrestling promotions that don't exist, or ways of using, you know, ways of doing title belts. And because Imagination has no special effects budget, you could have as much pyro, as much mysticism, as much movie, as much scripted movie vignette as you wish. It doesn't have to make sense. You don't even have to be human wrestlers. Like, it's, you know, just as valid to be playing a wrestling federation using fantasy creatures if you wanted to, because the storytelling and mechanics are all based around narrative control and not mechanical elements of who's better and all this other nonsense. It's all about telling a good story, and so whatever story you want to tell can be told in this context of your very own professional wrestling federation. Anyway, this really excites me, and I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to make sure that I gave Nathan and NDP Design a plug, because I'm so looking forward to playing this. It may be I don't know, the diamond in the rough that I discovered at Origins. It's the game that I'm most excited to get to the table, even amongst all of the board games that I was so happy to get. Like, this is a unique thing in my world and is something that I'm really enthused about. But anyway, yeah, that's Worldwide Wrestling. Check it out if you are a wrestling fan, or if you are a role-playing fan. And if you are both of those things, I suggest you go buy it, like, immediately. You will not be disappointed. Anyway, that's it for today. Bearded Rogue, signing out.